I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jordan. Welcome
Hey.
to Saturday night's edition. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us, brother.
of course. Let me see if I can enable my camera.
Sure thing.
There
Take
we
your time.
go. Hey,
There he is.
how are you?
Oh, here we go. We get the really chill guy Twitch studio, and it's entitled.
How's everyone doing?
Good, man. We were just talking. We were doing some news. We got through
Okay.
most of it. We saved some news for you that we'd love to go through with you, if that's all right. Just to kind of ease us into our obvious main topic of talking about our fun Twitch recruiting
Of
story that
course.
you've been doing. Um,
Of course.
but first,
Actually, can we save that for after? Can we get into the serious business and just kind of make sure we hit it at the end?
I mean, sure.
Like we'll say, like,
I just
okay,
wanted to make sure that we covered all the Biden stuff we wanted to talk about first. We were just talking about Biden perpetually unable to pull the foot from his mouth every time he fucking opens his goddamn mouth. And then there was one story that we did have on the agenda to talk about. We didn't get a chance to about the GOP just taking a hatchet to the United States Postal Service repeatedly. So, did we want to discuss that with Jordan at the top while we have him here?
well, yeah. Do you have anything on the USPS, Jordan?
Yes. What do you think about this situation, this terrible situation?
That was the only one we
Oh,
didn't get.
yeah. I mean, it's just like another. There's just so many different ways of looking at it. Whether it's like the sustained attacks on, it's like social infrastructure and like public governance.
Hmm.
I mean, just the United States Postal Service has been a reliable force for. I don't know when it started, but it just forever.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah,
It's in the
Yeah.
Constitution. Like it's
Yeah.
literally laid out in the
it's
Constitution
older than the
that
United States of
everyone needs
America.
mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just there was like the regressive attacks on its budgeting and forcing them to kind of like allocate money like years in advance, that like in ways that no other government agency or bureau would ever be seen to do, because it would just benefit private corporations and private interests if this was ultimately dismantled. Now this year you have an electoral component because we're going to be voting by mail.
Yes.
It's just so evil, unbelievably evil.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
And
go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry.
I actually, so I talked to my mailman for the first time, other like in depth, other than saying like, "Hey, what's going on?" Um, about the situation today. Um, and he was very candid and honest with me, which I loved. Um, but yeah, he said basically that this new was it Postmaster General, who's a Trump appointee, that's just coming in and trying to ruin the USPS, the Postal Service, just so that it can be privatized and eventually, either doing the bidding of FedEx, Amazon, or having to just jack up their prices so high due to some of the budgeting things that they're just basically trying to ruin it for everyone. Um, which is
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
I gotta ask my mailman. I live in like a high rise here, so just I'd be curious what he thinks. But that's interesting. I think people should talk to their mail carrier, because it would humanize the issue for a lot of people. If you're on the fence, see what they think.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, I was reading a story the other day talking about humanizing the mail carriers. Now, this has been a story that's been off and on in the news for the past, like, I'd say 10 years or so. But like, the United States Postal Service, they're famous for, rain or shine or sleet and snow, they deliver the mail, right? And that includes the incredible heat of the summer as well, which obviously has been this heat dome over the majority of the United States for the past month or so. There's just been fucking crippling the country at the worst time possible. And of course, that's going to be more felt by the poorer people in the country. And the Postal Service does not have air conditioning in literally any of their vehicles. And they're going around delivering for like 12 hours to, like every mailbox in every fucking suburb across the United States, every rural area. And the Postal Service has been saying for a long time, like, wouldn't actually be efficient to put air conditioning because they're getting in and out of the vehicle so much, so it wouldn't actually even keep it cool, whatever. But there was an example recently of a postal worker who died of heat stroke. She was out of work because she hurt herself on the job. She'd been off the job for about a month, so she wasn't acclimatized to the heat. She came back and she called her supervisor halfway through the day and said, I'm falling behind on my route. I'm not feeling so well. Could someone come help me out? And they found her dead in the vehicle later that day. And a lot of speculation has been tossed in the direction that this is directly due to some of the things that we're talking about, that the Postal Service is suffering the death by 1,000 cuts in many different ways. There's a pressure on them to continue to demonstrate their ability to deliver the mail in the most effective, efficient way, because otherwise they will be privatized. And that is obviously the aim of all these policies. And it's literally causing some of the workers to die because they care. Like you said, Jordan, humanizing, these people give a shit about what they do. We retweeted Joe Kasabian earlier today. Like, the postal workers are literally braver than all the troops. Like, the Postal Service is the best branch of the U.S. military. If you like, you can compare it to any branch of the United States military. I'd take the fucking Postal Service over it any day of the week. And the fucking GOP is trying to kill it because, for one, it would be a huge boon to capitalism to privatize it. It wouldn't be a boon to any of us because it wouldn't get mail delivered to rural areas. But also there's the electoral component right now, which is where the majority of us are going to have to mail in our ballots. And Trump knows that the longer he can make people wait to count those ballots, the better chance he has of casting doubt on the election. It is completely disgusting, and it's literally causing government workers to die. Horrible.
USPS, the only blue lives that matter.
True.
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 100%. So true.
Mm-hmm. ACAB, baby. except for USPS. All right, let's move on to a less depressing story, but also depressing because it's been fun for a lot of us lately. Jordan, let's talk about, you are the man who ignited single-handedly the controversy here on Twitch about the military's recruiting practices here. So U.S. Army Esports still hasn't gone live since your article, I believe. But the U.S. Navy has been live, and many of us...
They're live right now.
Oh, they're live right now. Yes. Many of us on the stream right now, and our viewers...
Don't mind if I do.
have been very active in their chat, let's say.
Wait, hold on. I gotta open up America's Navy, yep.
America's Navy?
What are they playing tonight, guys?
League of Legends.
League of Legends. Oh, it's the bubblehead. Oh, I got kicked out for calling him a bubblehead. That means a submariner. Yeah,
like okay. So let's touch on that. Getting kicked out, what that means. So Jordan, after your article, which for everyone's edification here, Jordan wrote a fantastic article drawing attention to the fact that the military was actively doing recruiting on Twitch, and not a lot of people were talking about it, and they were doing so in very misleading ways, including telling people who are obviously minors that they could win a free Xbox Elite Series controller, and no details about how they could actually win that controller whatsoever, and just leading directly to recruiting forms. Of course, this ignited a big controversy, and including AOC introducing a bill that would prevent recruiters from using Twitch as a recruiting platform and other streaming platforms as well. And now we are starting to see some of the controversy die down a little bit, which means the U.S. Army Esports and the Navy are trying to make their comeback. And we're continuing to wage the good fight against them, making sure that trying to ask the right questions in their chat and see if we can't draw attention to them. So Jordan, can you give us like an update about like where the situation is at in your mind and with your story right now?
Of course. So right now, I mean, you kind of gave an overview. The Army is claiming they're going to be returning soon and unblocking everybody who they blocked earlier. The Navy has unblocked everybody. They resumed streaming about a week or so ago, but they've taken a new tone. Like now they're trying to position themselves as outreach. They're doing outreach. Yeah, hey guys, we got to raise awareness about the Navy. You probably haven't heard of it, but it's all recruiters. I mean, it's housed in Navy Recruiting Command. You have to go through recruiting training. It's just like it checks every box for a recruiting effort.
Mhm.
It's just they're using a different term to try to like kind of skirt around that negative press.
Mhm. And for those of us who have been active in the chat for the past few days in the Navy stream, that is exactly they are struggling to address it properly, like you said. They are having varying levels of engagement. It is very obvious that the vast majority of people there are in the chat, are there to ask the right questions of the Navy about.
Mhm.
Please, you're offering a difference without a distinction. Outreach versus awareness. Like, like you said, are we aware of what the Navy is? Like, our deal is we're in charge of the ocean and we've got a really dark color blue, almost black. Like that's our deal. We're aware. They compared it to Fleet Week earlier today when I was in the chat. And it was like, outreach Fleet Week is just outreach.
Yeah, fucking
What?
right. Get the fuck out of here with that. Are you serious?
What?
Yeah, that's what they did. They did it earlier today. And I have a great clip, by the way. So because so many of us are in the chat asking very pointed questions, they're trying to just pick like single questions that they can actually address in the chat. And sometimes mine will be like the least offensive in the chat. And like last night I said, I was telling the stream here earlier that like I asked them, when you join the Navy, do you get issued a pocket protector or do you have to buy your own? Because these fucking nerds were on the stream. These fucking nerds were just like hitting their inhalers while they're talking about fucking doing, and what about the LT that's on the stream? Because how they do it is as well, Jordan. I don't know if you're aware of this or someone's broken this down for you. But like they have an officer who is the guy who is doing the commentary, and then the enlisted guy is normally the person who is playing the game. So it's a little.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, I think that's the new thing exactly because they're always saying because the enlisted guy can't help but to say LT, sir, and then we can't all help but call him in. Stupid.
Well, just looking at this dude that's playing right now, he's not in weight standards. So I do want to start there.
No. Well, let me okay. As a Marine, let me just get in here real quick. We're going to talk about weight standards. The Navy does not give a shit about height and weight standards. They do not care.
Here we go.
Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
Jordan, I'm sorry. You're seeing some branch rivalry
I've
happening, Jordan. It's
okay. Anyway, I was trying to have an analysis.
No one cares about analysis.
This dude has his boot camp glasses still.
Oh no, BCG's on the stream.
Yes. So I know that he hasn't been in. That's man.
No way, those are beasts. Those are not. Those are short. Those are slimmer than BCGs.
They don't make the BCGs anymore.
No, they're small now.
What?
Yeah.
You've been out for too long. You're an old.
Anyways,
man,
I'm sorry. We keep talking, and I want to let our guests speak a little bit more. I'm sorry, Jordan. You came all this way to Zoom. I think it's important you talk to us.
I agree.
A little bit more. I mean, what gave you the idea? So I'm reading these comments now. It's like, oh, how do I sign up to become a Navy SEAL so I can be like Eddie Gallagher, my hero? And like things like that in the chat right now, right? As we're talking.
Yeah.
Now, how did you come up with this idea to like kind of go after Army esports?
Yeah.
So I initially saw, and as I'm sure you all and your viewers especially saw the tweet from the Army esports account that was like, ooh, in response to, I think, Discord.
Yes.
That initially caught my attention. Like, this is really weird because, I mean, I think we all share the same view that the military is an imperialistic force around the world. Just like not something you would traditionally associate with that kind of language or that kind of imagery. It was just very bizarre. And I thought they were kind of like co-opting that to appeal to younger people. And then I saw that simultaneously people were getting kicked out of their Discord for posting the link to like the list of US war crimes. So I tried that in the Americas, or not the America's Navy, the US Army esports Twitch stream. Yeah. I said, what's your favorite war crime? And the term war crime itself was auto-modded. You couldn't even say it. So I had to spell it W4RCR1ME and put the link, and then the Green Beret who was on stream like flipped out. while I was saying this, he was talking about the ooh tweet, which I think made it very funny, and was saying like, I'm bigger than you. I'm going to say ooh on every stream now just to flex on the haters. And then saw it, got mad, and banned me. I had screen recorded it just to see what would happen, and sent it to a friend who ended up tweeting the video. I initially didn't think much of it, but then people started writing about that ban and how bizarre it was. So that prompted me to kind of dig into what their overall effort was, and I pitched it to the nation. But yeah, what I found was, like we talked about, this is a recruiting effort. Yeah. This isn't like an esports team like the other, I Buy Power or other like actual competitive units. It's not even a team like the Army and Navy football and collegiate sports teams. And that's what a lot of people tried to draw parallels to. They were like, well, they have football teams. What's the difference? Well, this isn't the same thing. This isn't people going through the academies and just having the traditional collegiate experience. These are, E5s and stuff. These are like people who are in recruiting command going on this stream and hyping up service. Yep. So I thought people needed to know that, because traditionally, like you said, there had been some conversation around it, but like most of it was like in business press. Like Business Insider had done a piece that was just kind of like, hey, cool, the military is getting into esports. Isn't that neat? And just kind of reframing press releases. It was nothing about like the ethical components of it.
And I think something that really that's kind of important to delineate from is like, you can have the esports team, they can still have that and not recruit on Twitch. They could still have these Army, Navy, whatever esports teams that would be like, like there's wrestling, soccer, football, whatever the hell that you want, like sports you want to play in the military. Like they probably have like basketball teams. Like each branch has that. Like, well, if you're like enlisted, and then of course you've got the Army, Navy, Air Force academies where they're playing NCAA football against like Notre Dame and all this shit. Go Army, beat Navy, or whatever the fuck. But yeah, that's where things get like draw a completely different line, where this is something different from people competing with other people, which fine, great. To hey, we are trying to entice up as young as 13-year-old children. And that's the thing too, is like people talk about like, oh, the restrictions online, it's like 13, which we know that it's probably very easy for someone younger than 13 to be online and possibly got caught into that. But I think something that was kind of like great and I'd love to talk about is like AOC actually attempting to do something about this with legislation. And of course, the Democrats are pieces of shit. So, do you talk about that? Did she reach out to you at all?
Yeah, did you get
to
talk to the
collaboration?
Oh, I didn't get to talk to her. No, not her. She's too important. I'm just
you deserve it, Jordan. You earned it.
Did you send a staffer after you?
Well, it was so actually my buddy Eric runs a group called Just Foreign Policy, and he helped me get in touch with Dan Riffle, her policy guy. Yeah. He just texted him and was like, hey, look at this. It was, as you probably follow, like last couple of weeks, defense appropriations bill has been kind of going through Congress. So it's like, this is an amazing coincidence and timing. So it's like, let's go for the moonshot. So he was going to pitch it to her office and then to Talib and Omar, because those are going to be the three who are probably most sympathetic and also understand the issue. And immediately Riffle was like, I'm in. Wrote up a proposal, kind of like breaking down the issue, and they introduced it. It was like the next day after I sent them the thing, it was in. It was incredible. But yeah, like, I mean, the younger, more progressive members get it, because it's not just like Tom Cotton's like freak in his office who like proudly proclaims he was like the nuclear guy. I think you know who I'm talking about, but like he was like trying to like troll, but like really ineffectively. He's like, oh, I don't mean to alarm you, but they also advertise in magazines that kids could read. But like, this isn't an advertisement. Like, this isn't just like the Slaying the Dragon Marines ad that we all saw growing up,
So
that got me.
That's why I started.
You wanted to fight the dragon.
I wanted to fight the dragon, and I did.
Yeah. But it's like it's a different style of consumption, like media consumption, that I think that the younger members understood. You aren't just going to watch this, in a 30-second segment in between, the show that you're watching. Twitch is totally different. And it also has an element of parasocial relationships between the viewer and the streamer. And my buddy Hassan has talked about this extensively because it's gotten to like unhealthy levels with him. People have shut up his apartments. He has to move like repeatedly. Like when you have that kind of a presence, people like convince themselves that you're their friend.
Yeah.
And when you have
friend, we've never met, but he is my friend. I've decided
he's everyone's friend. But when you have a platform like Twitch that, we all probably have friends who have kids and they are probably under 13 if they're around our age. And they're, likely spending time on Twitch, even though don't hit the minimum age requirement. So when you are promoting these streams on the front page, as they were with the Army and Navy streams because of partnership deals, you are going to reach kids even under 13. Now, you all know that, like, the youngest you can be actually recruited is 16. But there is a huge chance for kids under 16 to be hanging out in those rooms, especially when you're putting them on the front page. So the parasocial relationship, and then the consumption. Hours on hours and hours on end where you're talking to a recruiter in the chat, you're hanging out, you're watching military propaganda. Like if they're playing Call of Duty, that's a franchise that the military has helped shape for years. Like you are watching agitprop, even in the most recent one, like rewriting history to the United States. Yes, exactly. Yes. The use of white phosphorus. Like there's so many things in this game that are troubling. And using that, which some of the streams play a lot, is, I think, raise some serious ethical red flags. You're not going to go see American Sniper every single night after night for hours on that. You're not going to watch that movie. Well,
so gross.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to watch like military propaganda movies over and over again.
Yeah.
But this is such a different style of media consumption that hasn't really been out there yet. This is fairly new terrain, and that the military is there recruiting using this as an apparatus is deeply troubling.
Yeah, and so it was funny, Jordan. I was thinking about what we were talking just now, but earlier today when I was on the Navy stream, they were playing Call of Duty, and like me and a bunch of other folks were asking literally like, so this is the game, because Call of Duty Warzone is the offshoot of the new Modern Warfare game. They're playing Warzone. And the new Modern Warfare game, the developers literally take a war crime that we did, United States, the Highway of Death, which was a bunch of Iraqi troops retreating from Kuwait, trying to just run as fast as they could from American troops back to Iraq. And we basically bombed the front of the convoy so that they were pinned in, and then slaughtered everyone who was trying to surrender. So it's a war crime because we slaughtered troops that were obviously trying to retreat and surrender. They did not pose a threat. Well, if you're not aware, Call of Duty Modern Warfare actually supposes, what if the Russians did that though, and we didn't? And so we were asking them about this in the chat. How do you feel about the Highway of Death? Well, a few minutes later, they just switched to playing Spider-Man.
All right.
Yeah, it was just like, they started feeling weird about it. They started getting pissed off. They started yelling like they did. They had a very dumb response, actually. They yelled at us and said, why don't you contact your friggin' elected officials if you have a problem with what we're doing? Why don't you go vote if you don't like what's happening?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a Nancy Pelosi ass answer. Go vote.
Which of course prompted us to say, because the guy said like, well, I voted. We're like, who did you vote for, huh? We decided to ask him about that. Of course, he didn't answer. But it's making for some very strange conversations that happen in the chat. Because like you said, Jordan, there is a parasocial relationship that naturally happens with streaming. Like right now, as we are streaming, we are all engaging with our viewers and our fans in the chat. They follow us on Twitter. We feel like we get to know them a little bit. But there is like a weird, and there's a humanizing aspect to the live engagement experience. Like you said, that Hassan is very, very good at.
Oh yeah, he's great at it.
And the Navy guys are trying to capitalize on that because that is the natural aspect of this platform, right? So it isn't a static environment where you are just doing a pitch. Although, like, they literally have a link right below their stream, still on the Navy stream, that says, like, for more info, click here, and it goes right to recruiting. So they're trying to say outreach, but like we addressed this several times in the chat as well. You're still recruiting; it's right fucking there.
Yeah.
But
they have recruiters on, and like they have multiple jobs in the Navy. But if you're gonna say, hey, this isn't recruiting, but you just say like, oh, but every week, we've got 3 times a week a recruiter on, like, and that's the thing too, is like everybody that even streams has to go through recruiting school. So you're fucking recruiters. Like, there's no if, ands, or but about it. And also too, it's like, I just know by the way they react, like they have been, completely whittled down. And like, Dick was saying earlier, like, these are the dweebest motherfuckers I've ever seen. Like, it has to make sense.
The thing that bothers me too with like with the military branches going on Twitch, which, like, whenever I first heard it, and I was like, oh, that's fucking dumb. Like, who would watch that? I realized that it's not a coincidence that they're doing it during a pandemic. I know that they are there because, people are bored. They're home. They're watching a ton of Twitch. They're just like checking out the stream. And like, although I know that they are going after normalizing just everyday recruiting with like kids, because obviously, like you said, you can't recruit a 13-year-old outright, but what they're doing is they're planting that seed, and they're planting that this is okay, and this is normal, and this is fine. And like, we're people, like, look at us, we get to play video games.
Yes.
And that's what they're trying to do. But the other part of it that bothers me about it is, we are in an insanely bad economic downfall. And there's a lot of people that are feeling hopeless. They're feeling scared because there's not a lot of options right now, and you don't know what's going on with unemployment. And so essentially they're just trying to tap in once again to another outlet for the poverty draft. Because right now I'm not driving past the billboards that say America's Navy because I'm not leaving my house. I'm not able to just walk into a recruiter's office right now. So with them having the ability to be on platforms like Twitch, if it's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and I'm feeling down and I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, and I see that, oh, America's Navy is streaming, that's kind of weird. And I go in there and I see, oh, these people are playing video games for a living. Like, I kind of want to do that. And I know they lie, because they all lie. All recruiters lie. I mean, even off of Twitch, recruiters don't say that they're recruiting you. They say they're just talking. They're just trying to get to know you. Like, it's so predatory. And like, I know that they have quotas. All recruiters have quotas. So I know, like, whenever it came out, and like whenever you started, like whenever I saw like all this happening, the fact that they had blocked war crimes, that's when I really started to think, like, holy shit, this is actually like terrifying that they're on Twitch, and the fact that they're censoring words like war crimes, and they're trying to literally censor media so no one else can jump in and say, hey, they're full of shit, because recruiters talk to you one-on-one. They don't talk to you in a group. So that's what they're trying to do, and that's why they're trying to get you to go on the website and fill out your information so your local recruiter can call you. Like, it's God, I almost was a recruiter. So
thank you for not doing that.
You're welcome.
So Jordan, as like we mentioned earlier, we have now that as the controversy has started to die down, because unfortunately AOC's bill was defeated, and including it being we obviously supported it 100%. We promoted it as best we could, and told our followers and our viewers to contact their congressman and tell them to support the fucking amendment. It got shot down by some prominent veteran Democrats. Like, who's that fucking little Dr. Evil looking dude from Staten Island? what's that?
Max Rose.
Yes, Max Rose,
Mhm.
who we called out directly. Yeah, we're moving into phase 2 now of our operations against against this effort. What's next for Twitch recruiting? As the Army Esports says, they're coming back. Navy is obviously back. They've changed their tactics. We're adapting. But how do you see this going in the near future? Like, what do you recommend, or what do you looking in your crystal ball and tell us what you see?
So the Air Force and Marines are also now beefing up their efforts, because part of the rhetoric used in support of this amendment was pointing to the Marines and how they had said, as this story broke, the Marines distanced themselves from esports in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what, we think it's too risky to gamify. And, a lot of people like lifted that up. Well, I would suspect there's a few others that, maybe word came down, like top down. It's like, no, we're not having the branches being used, like pit against each other on this kind of stuff. Like, this is kind of an overall effort that we want to like undertake. So now this week, we're hearing that the Air Force and Marines are working on their esports teams. So I think this is the new frontier, is that they're going to continue to try to normalize this. And I think that it's going to be a battle for the Overton window in terms of how young is okay. Like, how young is it okay to reach people with? I'm just mixing up my words, but like what I'm thinking about is how people who oppose this amendment were saying, like, how is this any different than a firefighter coming to career day at an elementary school?
Yeah.
Well, it's wildly different. You're not asking them to sign up and spend the rest of their life as a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also distinctions to be made in the type of work, but it's dangerous. I think that we are so inundated with military propaganda in this country, and military like iconography, and just the myth and how we talk about war, and like the myth of war, as Chris Hedges wrote about, and just like detailed how we kind of like, we can never even question the military, especially in a political role, or else you're weak on foreign policy, or in some cases you hate America. If I had $1 for how many times people told me I hated America over the past few weeks for even doing this, I would never have to work again. And it's just pointing out, hey, maybe we shouldn't recruit 13-year-olds is what gets people to that point. We can't have rational conversations around the military. We are a militarized society. And I think that the new battle, using this as kind of like an entry point, is how young is okay. How young can you go if you're the military to recruit people?
No,
yeah, I think there's something that, well, for one, and Dimas brought it up, like, this is the first stream where I'm showing my face.
Oh, yes. Marcus's face has been revealed. His beautiful bearded face.
It's oh yeah, so much to reveal, right? No, it's and that's easy. I working with a member of Congress, and I just kind of like wait till I was clear of all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a time, and this is like over a year ago, and I don't even remember what the issue was, but I asked about it had something to do with the NDAA and reducing the funding, and I just asked another staffer who was like, he's been on the Hill for a long time, and his response is this a message from Putin? LOL, and like, but that thing is like, that is the only way he addressed it, was like some joke, and like, but that is how it looked like on the Hill, of even trying to curtail the military industrial complex and anything. And even as like, I was a young staffer just asking questions. Like, what the hell? Like,
a Marine Corps veteran who has seen combat as well. It's not like you're just like, I was moving the ones and zeros around, and I thought that maybe we could trim. No, you're like, I've been to war, you stupid bitch. How about you listen to what I fucking say?
Doesn't matter.
Nope.
Doesn't register.
Nope.
Doesn't register.
They're like
Niet,
actually.
But I did want to ask Jordan, Max Rose, and So this is something that we want to give license to every guest, especially, like every civilian guest. You have the right to tee off on any piece of shit that is a piece of shit and who happens to also be a veteran, right? Because if you wanted to, shit on Ben Carson, hey, I'm not going to jump in and stop you because he's another black man, right? In the same sense, Max Rose. This, and I think Dick Warlock had a great quote of just saying he's a little fucking mini me Dr. Evil looking piece of shit. But he had a quote unquote rebuttal to AOC and saying oh, this is just discrediting the recruitment for the military and whatnot. What do you think about Max Rose and what he had to say?
So yeah, in his comment to the post, he said this was like a limousine liberal idea that is just makes it shows that they just think that people who get recruited are kind of like hapless idiots or something like that.
We are.
Well, no, I think there's a lot of different reasons people go into the military. I think maybe some people get tricked, but I think it's also interesting that from what I had heard, he was confused on what he was even voting for and thought this was the amendment about recruiting in schools. So I do find it a bit rich that he teed off like that and then had no idea what he was even voting for.
What does it mean?
Amendment.
What amendment is this? I'm sorry, $1 billion.
And she had pointed out in the tweet after the vote, just imagine trying to explain to your colleagues who are members of Congress what Twitch is. And I think that there's just a ton of people who didn't get it. I would assume he's one of them, but he's got that kind of mentality. It's everyone who, joins the military is good and noble and brave and has no fear, has no issues, anything like that. Cause it worked for him, and now he's got a political career out of it. But, I think that kind of mindset is just dangerous because it just leaves people who didn't have the same experience feeling alone, and that's not fair.
And what I'd love to, I don't know if anyone's ever put this in these terms for you before, Jordan, but what I think as a stream, what we like to liken this to is that if Max's point about the military being oh, we're all just hapless idiots. That join, and there is kind of those stereotypes out there. Some of us are dumbasses who join the military for the wrong reasons. I think present company included in there. But there are the poverty draft is real, but it also is a mechanism by which for social mobility. The libs love fucking Hamilton, right? Because Hamilton says, if there's a war, then I can make a name for myself, even though I'm just a poor boy from Puerto Rico, So that's true though. That is right, because we live in a Starship Trooper-like society where service does guarantee citizenship in the sense
I'm doing my part.
Yes, I'm doing my part. You're a 13-year-old on fucking Twitch signing the fucking get the Xbox Elite series, and before you know it, you're invading Klendathu and getting your fucking head cut off. But it is true in the sense that we as a country have decided we're not going to give you shit. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, which is impossible to fucking do. Actually, the only way for you to secure any form of benefit that secures you any form of security is to join the military and go do good imperialism. Go do the imperialism that we deem necessary. So that is how you get, and we were talking about this on stream the other night too. It's where Chapo kind of gets it wrong too. Amber the other day on Chapo was talking about how everyone in the military is on food stamps, and it's no, maybe after sometimes, yes. When you're in the military, you get housing provided to you. You get your meals provided for you. You're told what time to be somewhere, what to wear. You get stipends for all kinds of different things.
We have literally so much shit that people don't know.
Yes.
When you're active duty, we had free lawyers. We had, like you said, the housing, complete medical, complete dental.
For your entire family, too.
Yeah,
you get TRICARE coverage for your entire family. There are people who join the military literally because their wife, their child has a condition which they cannot afford to treat. So they say, I'm going to go make myself a weapon of war because my child has fucking chronic disease that will die if I don't, or live in pain if I don't join
And
the army or the Marine
Also, one of the best rated school systems in the country is the DoD school system,
Mhm.
Yeah, so
which is crazy. But
absolutely. And what it boils down to is that if you want an example of socialism working, you need look no further than the military, right?
Mhm.
Like in
Strong
the
safety nets.
yes, you have the strongest social safety net that you will ever have if you are in the military current at the time and afterwards too. I use my GI Bill to get a college degree. There's no way I could have afforded otherwise. And I was paid a housing stipend during my college experience so that I could afford to do that and not work full time at the same time, because I still wouldn't have been able to afford tuition and my rent. Like boomers say, I worked my way through college. You can't
Hey,
fucking do that.
I'm going to add a little bit to this.
Please, go
There
ahead.
are, I mean, living in California and the active duty presence down here, there are a lot of families on food stamps. And that's one of the big things that, you know, when people are running for Congress in California, it's like, we got to get families, military families off food
Mhm.
stamps. And mainly that's because, you know, the privatization of housing that takes 100% of your housing allowance from the military and
Yep.
goes into the pockets of these private investors
Yeah.
that, like BlackRock, who have like partnerships with the military and contract.
Mhm.
And so you are leaving a lot of families on food stamps. You know, I have no sympathy for the 18-year-old me who bought a Lincoln LS. As soon as I joined the military,
At
I already had a
20%
fucking
interest
car.
rate, right?
It was
Yes.
stupid. Yeah, I had 20. Ended up paying it off and crashed it afterwards, but it's fine.
This is
Like,
fun.
I have no sympathy for those, but you know, there are plenty of families who join, or you know, also they get married young and then have kids, and they're stuck with a private company taking all of their BAH from them.
the poorest Marines that I knew were sending money back to
Yeah.
other poor family members.
I mean, that's what
And-
I did for my first almost two
But
and
that's-
a half years. I was sitting, because I was, you know, poverty draft, but I was doing that. I was like trying to figure out how to scam the military into putting my parents on TRICARE. Like, you just do whatever
I
you
actually,
can.
yeah, that's something that I helped, you know, a handful of some of my squad members with was getting their parents or their siblings onto TRICARE because wherever they were coming from, they couldn't do it.
So there's one thing I just want to change subjects real fast for Jordan to weigh in on. I'm really curious. It's on our list here for you to talk about too. Is Jerry Falwell Jr. Friend of all shows on the left. Curious on your thoughts on Jerry Falwell Jr.
and his beautiful unzipped pants.
Yeah. Just one thing I did want to say just about that, because I did hear that a lot. Like this not the Jerry Falwell stuff, but like the benefits aspect. Because a lot of people were like even on the left, who were like, why do you want to take away this one safety net that works in our system? Like, why isn't she focused on fixing it? Well, okay. Well, she did. Like, she introduced the Green New Deal. So she is definitely trying on both ends, and other members who back this also support that. And it's like, I think it's a dual pronged approach. But yeah, it sucks that we don't have that kind of robust safety net for everybody. Exactly. One thing that you guys didn't mention was Rippets. You know, free Rippets.
The goat juice.
Deep
You're
cut,
talking about
Jordan.
Jesus' blood.
This is pure pandering. You are pandering to our audience right now.
Well, that was fun. Anyways, it's nice meeting you, Jordan.
I just learned about this, and I'm like so enamored, and I like really want to try it because I hear they're terrible.
You can order them online. You can. I've done it.
Terribly good.
Really? Are they good?
No. I mean,
if I want to say, like, at the worst time of your life, it gives you the ability to go day to day. Yes, it's really, really good.
If
it's like this little sliver of something normal in an absolutely abnormal situation, fantastic. Rip it.
Got it.
They're for you.
Got it.
We would have lost the war long ago if we didn't have Rippets. Like, we were losing it now, but like it would have been like a slaughter if we didn't have Rippets. We all would have been asleep on guard, getting our throats slit every night.
But on the Falwell question, I think they just like Man, what a weird guy. And, like I just think it's like, I don't want to kink shame if, he's just doing his thing, but also it's just like, it's absurdly hypocritical that like, Liberty students aren't allowed to like, drink a beer, and he's just like doing whatever. I mean, you remember he got caught with like at some nightclub last year, and then he also had the weird pool boy stuff happening. And this is just like, there's just like a long history of right wing, prominent evangelists who are just, out of their minds, and just, it's all just a grift. Not really religious, but grew up in a religious family, so kind of saw that culture growing up, and it's bizarre. I think interesting, not to mention Hedges again. His book American Fascists, kind of written in the early 2000s, really showed, like, laid the framework for what we're living in now, because all of those people are like really close to the White House. So that's kind of horrifying. Yeah, just the way these people have also shaped society over the years. Kevin Cruz, if you know him, has a really interesting book. I can't remember. I think it's called "In God We Trust," but it's about like how prominent Christians, even like Billy Graham, were used by the government to beat back socialism during the Cold War. And it's just so fascinating. I think people should also check that out. But yeah, Falwell is just like the new manifestation, but it's just like a copy of a copy. So it's like completely gone haywire. It's got all these like behavioral issues on top of it.
Well, he's the quintessential, I mean, as Chapo says, he's the quintessential fail son, right? Like he is, like, if he was just some dude rocking, like he was just Jerry Falwell Jr., the guy who like had money and was just on a yacht, just doing coke and fucking and sucking whoever he wanted, that would be cool. But he's in charge of a religious university. Come on, dude. Like, whatever.
And so like there is so many things. There's like a whole lot of like the COVID shit where he was just asinine in the things that he was saying. The picture comes out there. His pants are unbuttoned.
He posted it. It didn't come out. He posted the
picture. He posted the picture. And then in the interview where he was apologizing for it, obviously wasted. Hammered
like 10 in the morning, he's fucking just absolutely just I'm gonna be a good boy from here on out.
It was a very Larry Kudlow move. I'd be impressed if I wasn't so disappointed. But just and then on top of that, it's like, this is the man that's in charge of a religious university.
Yeah.
Drinking black water, right?
Oh my God. Well, so the story is that he was trying to do the Trailer Park Boys like fucking costume party, right? So he's trying to be Julian, who's always carrying the rum and coke or whatever, the whiskey coke in his hand, running around in Trailer Park Boys, and that's why he's got like a half-dyed beard too. So it's just a super weird. And he also said that the woman in the picture was pregnant, which is not apparent, and that's why she had her pants unbuttoned. But he thought it would be, he's like, I had trouble getting my belly in there, so I just decided to unbutton mine as well. So he's like, and I thought it was funny how we kind of matched, and that's why I took the picture and posted it on Instagram. I'm trying to be a good boy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
I don't know. When I saw that picture, I was like sitting at my desk too, and I was supposed to be doing something productive, and I was on Twitter. And when I saw someone like post it, I sat here and I just like, it hurt. It physically hurt me to see. And seeing my culture appropriated like that hurt. Because he wasn't even a good white trash person. Like, it is my culture. It wasn't authentic. It made me upset. But then when I realized who it was, I was just like, I don't care anymore. Like, he's just going to do what he's going to do, I guess, and just be a nut. I love it. I love watching people's downfall.
I posted the link to the initial Twitter from Robert Dowden. Posted it on August 2nd was the picture. I posted the link in the Twitch chat for anyone who's looking. But he ended up taking down the Instagram post of that picture where he's like, more vacation shots. Lots of good friends visited us on the yacht. I promise that's just black water in my glass. It's a prop only.
Here, I'll bring it
You're
up.
an adult, dude. Like, stop.
And it's funny, he got canceled by the evangelical right. I just didn't think I'd ever see that.
Here, it's up on.
It's like, you drank, it looks like alcohol, and you took a risque photo with your wife's assistant, I believe.
Yeah, that's what he says. It's just like wife's assistant, like any Falwell assistant is just like purely for sexual purposes, I have to assume. Like it's not.
See, I
It's not
can
a real
tell
job.
she's pregnant now that you say
Allegedly.
that. Allegedly.
It's all allegedly.
But
Can you?
yeah,
Really?
no, I can tell. It's like a
Okay.
weird thing you get when you've done it. But
All right.
God, it's just like this is why we have to like just stop rich people. We just have to stop rich people. I don't know from what, but they just need to stop.
Yeah, well, what we're seeing is this is the inevitable repercussions of a society. Oh, Winston's making an appearance. Winston's one of the show cats.
Oh,
Jordan.
jeez.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is
Team
your-
cat all the way.
Is your beautiful cat
Really?
running around
D.
somewhere around near
Yeah.
you right now?
She is no, I think she's in the other room taking a nap right now.
Oh, okay.
Good.
She'll usually wind up at like
Oh.
midnight and start running around. Love it. What's up, Winston?
I love the Catter Day, the cat posting.
Yeah.
Dude.
Right.
So yeah. Well,
Oh,
Winston, Desmond, Winnie D.
I love the white
WD-40.
paws. That's
Winnie
great.
Oh
D?
yeah. Yeah. So well, he's got a great face. It's kind of like half, or he's got a good white
Oh,
stripe
hell
down
yeah.
the middle.
What a great
but
cat.
Yeah,
Just
he's pretty dope. He's really chill.
real quick, because I actually don't know.
Uh-oh.
Isn't Liberty University, didn't they had a thing with like someone wasn't allowed to come talk or something? Was that Milo, whatever? Like some people,
Andropolopoulos?
yes.
Was that Liberty though? I think Liberty would allow him.
Yeah,
Liberty's
he would
one of those super evangelical. Like,
Oh, I know
it's-
they are, but I feel like there was something.
Well,
I'll look it up.
No,
Don't-
they
don't
wouldn't.
mind me.
They wouldn't allow Milo to come. I imagine. I mean, you're probably right because that's a weird thing where like it's an evangelical university, so it would be incredibly hypocritical for them to have the incredibly flamboyant man on the right come speak there. Like Berkeley had the riots when Milo came
Yes.
to try and speak, and now I think Milo actually just disappeared from existence entirely.
Yeah.
His Twitter got banned, and then he just
Well, actually,
Bullying
recently
works.
he was in a debate with what was it, Jangles or something?
Jangles.
I don't know. I saw
What?
some debate.
we're just making
and it's
names up here on the show.
Yeah.
Is there
We
someone
don't.
named
We don't actually
I swear
read
to God.
anything before.
I
We just
swear
make
it's
up
true.
names.
I swear it's real.
Jangles.
I swear
Jangles.
it's
You know,
true.
the alt right.
Just-
the alt-right icon
SJW
of
debates.
Jangles?
Demos knows what I'm talking about. Just look in the chat. Demos knows what I'm talking
Jangles, are you in the chat right now? Are you here?
about.
Well, you do come in and debate us, Jangles. Well, you debated Milo, now you have to debate us. No, but like Liberty did have a controversy a while back that was like they were one of the first ones to be like, we're not scared of COVID, and they immediately had an outbreak.
Yep.
It's just like
They're
Well,
gonna make
I
kids
was
come
in
in.
Virginia still when that happened. Remember, I was down in Virginia Beach because I just got out of the Navy,
Yeah.
like right at the beginning of COVID, and the governor of Virginia was like, "No, like you're not doing that," and they were just like, "Ah, whatever." And I think they're back or they're coming back to campus now with the rest of college campuses, which my school is. So that's great. And you have to, for Purdue out here, you have to go to in-person classes or else the GI Bill will not be paid in full to you if you're using your GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
So they're forcing veterans in order to get their benefits that they've earned and everything, they are forcing them to go to classes in person at some universities. So there's a fun fact for you.
Well, I think you got a few minutes with Jordan as far as the schedule time. If you want to stay on,
you're welcome to stay as long as you want, Jordan. But we understand if you got to go.
But I did, want to give you the time to say if you want to plug anything and like just thank you for coming on. And I think all of us are happily surprised with the amount of people that are willing to come on with us and talk to us. But so please, shameless plug time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, on Twitch, I'm really _chill_guy. So you might see me hanging out in the Army or Navy chats, and then soon to come the Air Force and Marines. But yeah, at night, stream a little bit here and there. We talk about politics. It's a lot of like guys in kind of like the hardcore metal scene who can't currently tour, who I usually play with. So if you like any of those types of bands, you would probably like our streams. Talk about music a lot. We fuck around. Fortnite, Valorant. Just recently now, I've been trying to like get back into Call of Duty just to kind of see how it's being updated and shit. I took a break because it was just making me miserable, and I also just like really have some ethical dilemma over playing the game. But I'm trying to like remind. I don't know. I don't know. I might fuck around with that a little bit, but yeah, if you like any of those things, you might like the stream. And then my show, my podcast with Rob Rousseau is called The Insurgents. More in-depth conversations on all of these types of things. But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. And if you don't follow Jordan on Twitter already, you better, because he is like one of the like quintessential best posters on the website. And I will say that, not to kiss your ass, Jordan, because it is an objective fact.
Thank you.
And the Insurgents Pod is very good as well. So
thank you.
Subscribe and listen. And yes, and we put your Twitter up in the chat. And you better watch him on Twitch as well. Unless we're on, then you have to watch us.
Yeah, I would defer to you all first, and then if once they log off, then if you want to.
Oh, and as I should to cap off the interview here, Jordan, as Marcus said before, you not only do you have carte blanche to go off on any fucking public veteran that is an idiot, but we will officially, we do this periodically online, we will officially give you valor. You don't have to steal it.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
We're going to do a post.
You could have mine.
Yes, we'll give you our valor.
I don't need
we
it.
are actually the most valorous veterans that have ever been in the military. So we have
you got surplus.
Yes, we have a surplus. We have plenty to spare.
Sweet.
I only joined for the ribbons and medals.
Yes.
That's just me. I didn't join for anything else. I was just like, I want coins, I want medals, and I want ribbons.
As Napoleon said, a man will fight long and hard for a bit of colored ribbon. And we're going to give Jordan a bit of valor so that he continues to fight long and hard in the digital trenches to take down the fucking Twitch recruiting. Because as I was going to liken it to this earlier, Jordan, as like someone in the chat like brought this up, but it really is like you said. Max brings it like to the idea that it's this is just pandering to the idiot yokel that tries to join the military, but it's more akin on Twitch to grooming. It is like a weirdo being like, "Oh my god, you're so mature for your age. You, I mean, if you want to hang out sometime, we could talk about like stuff. We could talk about life and what your future is going to be and stuff. Like it is on that level when you engage in the parasocial relationship that is here on Twitch. So it's not just coming to your school and saying, "We can do something for you, kid." It's a weirder kind of engagement with a younger audience. Like you said, like how young is okay to talk about these things in the like libertarians fucking want to do, like that kind of level of weird.
We all know about libertarians.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. So yeah, I'm appreciative that people took to the story and understood the significance. And thanks all of you for having me on to talk about it.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Jordan. It's really good to hear from you.
You are welcome back anytime, and we will continue to support all of your efforts and articles as time goes forward. Please don't let this story die down, and we won't either, because I don't want any branch to be streaming on Twitch by the end of this year. And we were going to make it not easy for them to do so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do I salute now, or what do I do? How does this? Yeah.
No, thank you for your service.
Literally braver than all the troops. Use your left hand.
Use your left. I go right sometimes. Like sometimes just this, but
just do both.
Just shoot it up as fast as you can.
You actually just you pick up your Bernie mug.
There we go.
Tip it up.
That's it.
And you take a sip.
In the Navy, we just greet each other with the YMCA.
Yeah.
I did get banned from the Navy chat the other night for repeatedly posting the lyrics to "In the Navy" by the Village People.
That's fucked up.
I did. I got timed out for 2 days for doing that. And the other
Still
time,
timed out.
God.
the other
Ugh.
time, Jordan, I do want to say this to the person who inspired my shit posting was I got banned from the Army chat permanently because I asked them if they were going to play the next Call of Duty match against the Taliban. What the fuck?
Wait, are you unbanned now though?
I don't know.
The Army?
Because they haven't been
When
on.
does the
so I haven't
unban
checked.
go into? Are you effectively unbanned now? Has the unban hit?
I'll look right now. I was supposed to be unbanned already by the Army, and they keep saying like this, like, oh yeah, we'll be resumed. Yeah, I'm still banned from the Army, but they've tried to like placate the lawyers
Are you
who sent them the
thinking
letter.
about? Are you considering possible litigation?
Well, I
with
mean,
the
that would
restrictions
be the
against
next
First
step.
Amendment rights.
That would be the next step. So we didn't even get into this, but the Knight First Amendment Center at Columbia University sent the military or sent the Army and the Navy letters saying like, you can't block this guy for saying what he said. And the Navy eventually conceded. And then the other day, the Army said, okay, we'll be resuming streaming soon and we'll unblock them. But like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. So
you're
That
would be the next step.
I know. Like, I don't know if you can. Are they willing to go like pro bono? Like, do you have help and stuff like that? Like,
oh yeah, they're on retainer. Yeah,
nice. Awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, you're a free
we'll
speech
see
warrior,
what the Army
Jordan,
does.
and don't tread on Jordan. And he better get an unbanned soon, or we will.
I hope so.
We will continue our insurgency against the Twitch chats because it's the only way to be.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Jordan.
See ya. Have a good night.